Thank you very much. Despite the rain, despite the traffic jam, you still turn up. So thank you very much. Tonight is going to be another exciting night and a talk. Just want to share something with you before I start with the 弟子规. We will often ask whether the ancient way of teaching children to learn can really groom expert. 就是说，这些古老的教法真的是可以教出人才来吗 ？Can we nurture and groom, children who are going to be leaders in the future? And they are even more puzzled, when we tell them that our teaching method is very simple. Our teaching method is one book after, and then another book, and then another book, instead of studying many subjects all at once. Which means that for the first year and second year and even the third year, the younger the child, the better, because the younger he is, the more years he can expose to this kind of teaching. He would only learn one subject. Meaning that if he's Chinese, then he will only learn Chinese. He will not learn mathematics or geography or history or science or even other languages for the first 3 years. Now, what are the results then? It is almost impossible, isn't it? And can they really read archaic Chinese? Now, I'm going to circulate a book for you to as a reference. This is the book of history, or the record of history, or the chronicle of history called 史记. Okay? And it's written by Sima Qian during the Han Dynasty. Now, just take a look inside, and you will find the words are very difficult. The archaic Chinese are very difficult. I know you hope you're English educated. In English and in Chinese, right? Now you can see how difficult the words are, and it's all in archaic Chinese. Okay? Now you can pass these books around. Okay? Now I'm going to show you a clip. Please help me a bit. I'm going to show you a clip about a boy, a 6-year-old boy. Here's a 6-year-old boy. Okay. Now he was in the library on Wednesday night. So I walked into the library. Actually, I wanted to find the librarian. Then I saw him reading the book. So I went over there, and I took a video. Okay. Now he was reading. Six years old, huh? Okay. Now another clip where he was reading this book. It's a series of history book. He was reading this book. Okay, thank you. Now, how did he manage to do that? 注音符号. You see the phonetics on the side? He can recognize those phonetics. So it took him about 1 year to learn the phonetics, how to pronounce the words. So you can give him any book, he basically can make out the sound of the words. The muttering sound that you heard, it wasn't mine, it was his. He was trying to figure out So he was trying to figure out the phonetics, how to pronounce the words. Right? So I want to test him. What happens if he doesn't have the phonetics? Okay, we do the third one. What happens if he doesn't have the phonetics? So I asked him to cover up the pronunciation on the side. He was slower after I covered the phonetics, but he still can recognize about 50% of the words. Okay. Now, you would think that you can't do it, right? Could you do it? And you are much older than him. He's only 6 years old. You are at least 20 years older than he is. But you have children, right? Or you may have children. Okay? So when you have a child, okay, if you put him into this kind of teaching method, don't let him study too much. Let him focus. Focus on one subject a year. He will be able to accomplish that. Books like this, some university students, Chinese literature students, might not be able to read them. Okay? So the theory is that they will memorize as many vocabularies, as many images of the words as they can. So in the future, they do not need to even take books. And so far, I've seen the target set up by the teachers. It was over like 30,000 vocab that they have to go through the words that they recite. In Chinese, if you can master about 4,000 characters, you can basically read magazines and newspapers. If you can master over 5,000, you can read basic books. It's not that difficult. So you say, why do we study Chinese? Why do we have to study Chinese? Isn't Chinese a bit obsolete? Chinese is not very useful. Everywhere is English or Malay. You know, Chinese is full of wisdom. You have so many wisdom in it that one day this sleeping lion will wake up. And then your children will be ready for it. Okay? So even in the children's class, even though they may be English educated now, the teachers in those classes will tell them a little bit Chinese, a little bit at a time, a little bit at a time. So hopefully your children will be able to read some Chinese in the future. So have faith in the ancient Chinese teaching method. It really works. Okay? But why do they need to learn about virtues? Isn't scores, high marks enough? Now, when you usually measure a child, how do you measure whether that child is good child or not so good a child? When you hear a child getting 9.8, then you're very happy, right? You're definitely very happy, right? You really don't mind if he's very naughty. You don't mind if he's not very filial. You do have to mind, right? Okay? So, but when we hear other children having 9As, we get very excited. 9A 啊，哇，这样厉害的，你的孩子。You never ask them， 你的孩子孝顺你吗？是吗？有没有？没有的哦。Okay. So we measure the child by how much scores he made. Okay. Now, do you measure a man by the money he makes? The richer the man is, the better he is? Yeah? Not necessary, isn't it? It's not necessary. Okay. What is more important is this man is virtuous. 有德. He's a good man. Not necessarily measured in material things. So all this cultivation actually starts from small matters. They start from very small matters that we think is not so important. But when little things add up, they become big things. So tonight we're going to start with 事虽小，勿擅为；苟擅为，子道亏。物虽小，勿私藏；苟私藏，亲心上。How things start from small matters. If we are not careful with it, it will become big matters that will affect the child for a long, long time to come. Now, 事 is matter, 虽 is although, 小 means small. That means although the matter is small or trivial, 勿 means do not, 善 means without authorization. You do what you want. Way is to do or to act. So do not, without authorization, do or act. 事虽小，勿擅为. So if we put it into comprehensible English, it will sound something like, even when a matter is trivial, we should not act without permission or just do as we please. 那苟擅为呢？苟 is if, 善 also without authorization, 为 is to do act. So if you do it without authorization, 子 is child, 道 is the path, the virtuous way, 亏 means deficit, incomplete. That means as a child, as a dutiful child, which is appropriate, your act, your behavior is not complete. It is not good. So we put it into English. If we do so, what do we do? If we do small things without authorization, then we are no longer a dutiful child. Now, what was the original? Did this come from? Now, all the phrases that you have seen in 弟子规 all came from historical legends. So the author who put and compiled this book did not do it just out of his own imagination. So these words actually came from the Chronicle of the Three Kingdoms, called the 三国志. How many of you have heard about the stories from the Three Kingdoms? 三国的故事，刘备、曹操、孙权，你听过？有了哈，都有啊。Except we have to catch up with Chinese history. Okay, it's a fascinating period in the Chinese history. During the end of the Han Dynasty, okay, there were three lords, feudal lords, who at that time who all claimed that they have a claim to the throne. They want to unite and they want to conquer the other two and become the emperor. So this saying actually came from during Liu Bei when he was about to die. 在刘备还死之前说的话。Okay? And what did he say? He wanted to tell his son this. He said, "Dear son," oh, by the way, his son is called Liu Shan. And you might not have heard about Liu Shan, but have you heard about 阿斗? 阿斗. So if you are a so-so or a very untalented person, they call you 阿斗啊。你真係阿斗係嘛？你真係阿斗啊！阿斗 that means you are a you are a very ordinary person, not a very talented, no skill, nothing. 叫做阿斗。But was Liu Shan really 阿斗? Was he? That he was seen by some people or historians as being weak because he did not put up a fight. He just gave up his kingdom of Shu to Cao Pei. So roughly, if we can use circle to represent, this is Wei. This is Shu, and Wu is over here. So Cao Cao reigns in the north, Liu Bei reigned in the southwest, and Sun Quan reigned or ruled in the east side. This year, these are what it looks like at that time. So when Zhuge Liang, the famous Zhuge Liang, and they usually would employ handsome actor to play Zhuge Liang, but actually Zhuge Liang was not handsome at all. So it's a myth. He wasn't that handsome, and apparently he had a wife who was very, very actually talented. Apparently a lot of his strategies, his scientific skill were actually suggested by his wife. And his wife was not pretty at all. Apparently she was plump and she wasn't pretty, so, but they were a great couple who helped Liu Bei to at least secure the land who might have a chance to capture the other two lands. So after Zhuge Liang passed away, Liu Shan ruled over the kingdom of Shu for 41 years. Some say 42, some say 41. Roughly about 41 years. He was the longest reigning ruler in that time. It was a time of great havoc, of great chaos. If you're not careful, you'll be chewed up by another lord. And he managed to hold on for 41 years. So he wasn't really that bad a king at all. And how do we know that? Now, this was what his father said. His father said, Chen Xiang told me, that means Zhuge Liang, who was the premier during Liu Bei's time, he said, Zhuge Liang had told me that you have improved a lot more than he had expected. And I feel very, very consoled about this. He said, you know, it's very rare that a man can live over 60 years old. But me, Liu Bei, had lived over 60 years old. So there's nothing to regret about. The only thing that I may feel a little bit worried is you and your brother. So, son, please remember, do not do something, okay, even if it's a small evil. Do not act just because it's a small evil and you think nobody knows about it. 勿因恶小而为之. Do not do some evil act, even a small evil act, you think that nobody knows. Okay? And do a good deed, even though it is a very small deed. 勿因善小而不为. Which means that don't choose to do only bad things when you think nobody knows about it. while you do not do good thing because you think nobody will recognize your merit. Okay? As long as it's good, do it. If it's not good, don't do it. Okay? Whether it is small or bad or big. So that's how he taught his son in the last words from his deathbed. Now he said, 人之将死，其言也善. The words right before somebody's death is usually good words. They would not lie to you when they're about to die. Why? Because they have nothing to lose anymore, isn't it? So all the last and final secrets will come out right before somebody passes away. Okay? So when we pass away, we can tell them, yeah, things that we will not say, okay, or will not, pass over. But that time, he felt that, it's important, son, you learned from the premier, treat the premier, the prime minister, as your own father. You must listen to him and also study the books. Those books are military books, like Liu Tao was written by Jiang Taigong. And 这个商君书 it was written by Sang Yang, a legalist. And also Han Feizi, Guanzi, all these great leaders, premiers of the past, he asked his son to learn and study from them. By the way, all these books that he mentioned are here. Okay. So Liu Tao, Han Feizi, and Sang Jun Shu, Shen Shu, Han Shu, Li Ji. All these passages have been extracted and included in this book. And it's a very good read, actually. If you cannot understand the Chinese, which is archaic Chinese, try to skim it in English. Somebody told me it's easier to read in English than in Chinese. I guess because our English translation team have really chewed it out, before they translated it. So maybe that's why it's easier to read in English. But I should hope that we don't have to wait until the day we die to say good words. Always say truthful and good words, even when we are still healthy. Okay. Now, here I'm going to tell you a story about Jiang Taigong. Just now we talk about the book called Liu Tao. Tao is Liu Tao was the military book, a strategist book, written by Jiang Taigong. Jiang Taigong was what you call the father of military, okay, during the time of antiquity, during the Zhou dynasty, which is about 3,000 years ago. Isn't it fascinating? We still can read books written by ancient 3,000 years ago. And you may not believe it, but if you really set your heart to study the Chinese, you'll be able to read things that he wrote. So he wrote the military strategy book, which here also is included in, especially in the military warfare. And he also talks about how to read people. How do you identify good people to be generals? There are certain things that you can test him. Now, Jiang Taigong was also a very interesting person. Do you go to temple and what do you call it, pray for a joystick or a qima for oracle? There will be a qian about Jiang Taigong. Okay? Now, if you get this draw, this oracle, it usually means you have to wait until you are old before you get accomplished. Okay, because he was discovered by Emperor Wen when he was in his late 60s. Now, there was a storybook called Feng Shen Bang. He was Xiang Ziya in there. he was said to live until over 80 years old, but in actual fact, he didn't. He only lived until, I think, 62. Right? Now, legend had it that one day he was fishing, using a fishing rod to fish. And Wen Wang passed by and saw this old man fishing. Now, he had a peculiar way of fishing. His fishing, the hook, never touches the water. That's how he fished. How could he fish without having the hook put into the water? So Wen Wang was very curious, so he said, dear sir, your fishing hook is not in the water. How can you fish? He said these famous words, 愿者上钓. It means that those who are willing will jump up and bite my hook, the bait. 愿者上钓. That means he will not go and catch you, but if you are willing, you go to him and ask for advice. Wen Wang was a very, very astute king. So he said, this must be a hermit, an extraordinary man. So he said, please, can you help me to run the country? You be my teacher. And Jiang Taigong actually at that time actually was waiting for Emperor Wen or King Wen. So they said, okay, I shall be your teacher. And Wen Wang asked him, how long my dynasty will last? 我的这个朝代可以有多久呢? And Jiang Taigong said, well, I don't know. I'll tell you what, you carry me in the carriage. Okay, you pull the carriage. I sit on top, you pull the carriage. Well, we'll see what I can do. I'll see what I can think about, okay? You just carry me. So he jumped onto the carriage and Wen Wang pulled him along. Pull and pull and pull and pull until he was exhausted, because he thought, here is an old man, a very respectable old man, I must revere him. Since he asked me to take him on my carriage, I should carry him as long as I can. Okay, maybe he can't walk properly, he's too old, maybe that's why he wants me to carry him. So he walked and walked and walked until he is exhausted, and he had to stop. Then Jiang Taigong told him, dear Wen, you had walked 800 steps. Your dynasty will last for 800 years. Now, what is this lesson we learned? You know how if you want to carry an old man or old lady will walk maybe 50 steps, you stop. It's too tiring, right? But Wen Wang, because of his filial respect for this old man, as his teacher, as an elderly man, he tried his best, used all his strength to carry this old man. He didn't know that Jiang would count his steps, because he had no idea that would represent how long his dynasty will last. Okay? So next time when an elderly person tests you, okay, take the test. Don't give up too quickly. Yeah, don't give up too early. Go, move. Who knows? Maybe your fortune will be make $1 billion for hundreds of years for your generations to come about. And so, wow, that was a good legend anyway. Okay, so yes, Zhou dynasty became the longest dynasty with its name existing, okay, in the record of Chinese history, okay, in China. Okay. And Jiang Taigong was later being given a piece of land in the state of Qi, so he was actually the first ruler of Qi. Okay. Now, Jiang Taigong was asked to become what we call the disciplinary master for King Wu. In the olden days, the crown prince, Taizi, crown prince means he will succeed the throne, 太子. Now, 太子 has 3 teachers. 太师, 太傅, 太保. 太师 means is the teacher. 太傅 is his disciplinary master. 太保 is his health instructor. So he has these 3 senior teachers around him. And Emperor King Wen asked Jiang Taigong to be the crown prince Wu Wang. And at that time, he was still known as Ji Fa. Ji is their last name. Ji is the last name, Fa was his name. So Jiang Taigong was appointed as Ji Fa, the crown prince disciplinary master. And Jiang Taigong found out that Prince Wu likes to eat abalone. And Jiang Taigong stopped him from eating abalone. Why? He said abalone is a very abnormal creature. 异类啊，它是什么？异常。异 means different. 常 means ordinary. 异常。Yi means strange or different. Chang means normal. So he said it's a very strange and abnormal creature. Okay, it cannot be put in the vessel. Okay, of to serve the prince. Now, really, is abalone? You know what's abalone? 鲍鱼, huh? You like to eat 鲍鱼 or not? How come only one like that? The rest is okay. Now he said, why is it different looking? Okay. Now, Rachel, can we show the PPT of a 鲍鱼? That's what it would look like. Does it look beautiful? It looks very ugly, isn't it? So that's why he say, 异常. Actually, abalone looked like this before all these shells have been peeled. Okay, and they also shred off some this outer meat before it landed on your table like a nice piece of button meat. Okay? So it looks like this. You say, what an ugly creature. So if you eat an ugly creature like that, you will become ugly yourself. That's what the Chinese believe. Okay? And that's why when the Jiang Taigong's daughter, who married King Wu later, okay, now I have to read this out exactly as what it was said. Okay, we can shut this up a little bit, otherwise you may have nightmare. So next time when you eat abalone, remember what it looks like. Now, when his daughter was pregnant with Cheng Wang, who later became Cheng Wang. Cheng Wang was the Cheng Kang. Cheng Wang was the first quote, was quoted in the first quote of the book. Okay? Now, when she was pregnant, she said, 立而不急. That means he will stand without leaning. Okay? It's not in your paper. You have to listen to me. You see, I find with notice that people tend to look at the note. So you have to pay your attention on me for temporary. Now, is it when she stands, she will not like stand leaning or crooked. She will always stand very upright. And when she sits, she will not crouch. She will sit very upright. And when she was alone, she would never let loose of herself. She was still sitting very properly, standing, doing everything properly. Now that is very hard to do, right? Now usually when there are people around, we will behave well. When there are no people around, Maybe in your own room, I don't know how to put your sock. But if you're rooming with someone, you would pick it up and put it down nicely. But even if she was alone, she would act as if many people are looking at him, looking at her. Right? 虽怒而不杂. That means even though she might get angry, but she will not yell, she will not scream. Okay, even though she wasn't very pleased, she would never show it. That is what we call fetal education. 胎教啊，所以他生出了个武王出来。武王，no, sorry, 成王 because she married 武王。So 姜太公, yeah, he said, well, sorry, it's not a good, nice-looking creature. Okay, if since you are young, okay, I do not discipline you. 小节不渝，大德就绪. That means if you do not pass, if you do not tramp over these small matters, your virtue will grow. Okay? Your virtue will start to grow when you do every little things or things that you should not do. Okay? Then you will not do it. Okay? Then only your virtue will grow. 匡正自同，圣公无阻. That means corrections must be done since a child is very young. 匡正自同. I will write Chinese because sometimes Chinese 4 words, it can tell the whole story. Right? So even though you're English educated, don't worry. Okay? You can follow me and draw pictures. Chinese characters are pictures. Okay? They are not alphabets. Every single Chinese character represents a picture. Now my mom was an illiterate. She didn't go to school, but she could copy the sutra. 經書. She could how? She was copying picture. Okay? So exactly just copy. Okay? So you can copy. Now, this is right away you know there is a border somewhere, right? You know it's going to enclose something. This one, 框. Okay? That means a king inside you discipline this kingly figure. There's a 框. Right? 匡正. Why do you want to discipline him? Make sure he is upright. 匡正. 匡. Sorry. 自. That means since. 同. Child. Now you look at this word, doesn't it look very upright? Very squarish? So the way we calculate, that's how my mom calculate how many Chinese characters he wrote. Because one of these is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So when she completed 1 zheng, she knows she has written 5 characters. So if she has 2 zheng, that means she has written 10 characters or recited 10 times. Okay? So zheng means very upright, very firm. 匡正自同. Since the child is young, we must nurture an uprightness in this child. 叫匡正自同. 圣公无阻. Then your sacred effort will meet no obstruction. That means the child in the future will be very easy to deal with. which means that you will not spend too much effort in correcting him or her in the future once you can do that since he or she is a little boy or little girl. Now, the 6-year-old boy, Hong Yu, for instance, he was very good at reading, but he still had to learn how to behave properly. So we stacked up his chair because he was too short, 2 chairs, and he started to crouch and he started to sit like this, like completely crooked. So I said, no, you must sit upright. Otherwise, the teacher will reprimand you and will scold you. And he said, no, my teacher did not scold me. I said, really? In your school? No. I said, where? Here. So I better go and teach to our teachers. I have gone and talk to them. Why did you allow the student to sit like that? Okay. And one of the things I could think about was they have really grown. They have outgrown those little short tables. So maybe it's time to change those short tables because they have grown so much in the 2 years. So 匡正自同圣公无阻 because 习惯成自然，少成若天性 because habits are formed, when we were young. We form habits without knowing it. One of the habits I found I'm really very stuck at, which I'm trying very hard to get rid of, is to check my iPhone, check my iPad. It's almost become a habit. First thing I woke up is, I look at my phone, I look at my iPad. Okay, now it's better because I didn't check my notebook. Otherwise, last time I will check 3 things. But actually, isn't it silly? All of them show the same thing. Why do we have to check 3 things? I don't know. Maybe somebody will phone or something. So it's a habit that we form. So in the 群书治要 149, you can turn to 149. (149) says, 与善人居，如入芝兰之室，久而不闻其香，即欲之化矣。与不善人居，如入鲍鱼之室，久而不闻其臭，亦与之化矣。是以君子必慎其所与者焉。That's how the 鲍鱼 came about. Here we translate it as salted fish. Okay, so walking in the company of good people is like walking into a room full of fragrant lilies. But we cannot smell the fragrance at least we have become part of the fragrance. Once you become, you walk into a really nice smelling room, after a while, you can't smell it anymore. Walking in the company of unsavory people is like walking into a shop that sells salted fish, or in this case, like abalone. It can also mean abalone. So after a while, we cannot smell the salted fish as if we have become part of the smell. So therefore, a superior person must choose carefully whom he befriends. It started from very small. If you are not careful, you are in the bad company without you knowing it. So even in the book, I think one of the books included here, it says, if you do not understand your son, just look at the friends he has. If you do not understand your child, just look at the friends he makes. You will understand a lot about your child. Okay? So if we switch this, if you want to understand yourself, just look at the friends you have. So what kind of friends do we have? And see whether this is correct or not. What type of company did we choose? Yeah, it's lady. What kind of friends do you have?
Very creepy.
very thrifty friends. Practical, thrifty, knows how to refrain from spending too much. Are you like that too?
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we choose, would you go and befriend a spendthrift? That means a very lavish consumer. You won't, right?
No.
Because you can't stand the way they waste money. Right? So we choose our friend. Okay? So if I don't know you, but I look at the friends you make, I roughly can tell what kind of person or character you are. Right? The only exception is about spouse. Spouse sometimes and a lot of times are opposite. Am I right?
Half.
Okay, I was right half. Not too far. It's strange. Okay, now nobody knows. I think whom we marry, right? No. Now, if today we ask you this question, if you have the chance to do it all over again, would you marry the same? Oh, let's ask the women first, okay? Would you marry the same husband? Oops. Okay. The yes only comes. Okay. Yeah. Oh, you won't get married. Well, yeah. You know. Yeah. Not the gentleman. If you have a chance to remarry, will you marry the same woman? Yeah, better don't say anything, huh? Okay. It's strange, isn't it? Now, at that time, if your mom or your dad were to tell you that, hey, he's no good for you, would you listen?
No.
You won't, right? So how could that be? You know, well, we 注定了. It's fated. When fate arrives, you just cannot escape. It seems that it's very hard to run away. Right? Before marriage and after 10 years or 20 years of marriage, they just change. Okay? So you got to grow with them. You got to grow with them. You know, because when you date, you always put up the best of yourself, isn't it? So let's say when he calls you, he asks you, hello, would you like to go out and have dinner? What would you say? Yes, of course. Right? Now, he asks you, where would you like to go? Anywhere. Right? Anywhere you take me. Oh, okay, that's nice. Okay, then. But I don't have a car. What do you say? That's all right. I have a car. Okay, so okay, whether he has a car or no car, you will still go out with him, right? Okay. Then you go to the restaurant, the menu comes, and he asks you to choose. And what do you say?
Anything.
Anything lah, you choose lah. Anything lah, you choose lah. Okay. So he chose, and then the food came, and you actually hope the food will come out slowly. Huh? Why? So that you can sit there a little bit longer. So don't go to a Chinese restaurant. They rush you. Go to a Western restaurant. Okay. They will let you sit there for a long, long time. So, okay, you finish the dinner, then he asks you, would you like to go and have a walk? What do you say? Sure. Yeah, okay. Then it started to rain. Then he hurried to go and get the umbrella. Oh, that is so romantic, isn't it? One umbrella, and he asked you, are you cold? What do you say? Well, and he quickly took off his coat, and the picture is perfect, isn't it? Okay. Now, 15, 20 years later, you call him and ask him whether he wants to have dinner. He pick up the phone. But the whole world, there is one woman understands that language, and that woman is his wife. It's so hard for him to open his mouth and tell what this means is, okay, I will come back and have dinner. Don't bug me. He didn't say that, but the way he hang up, he said, don't bug me. Okay. So, okay, you're also not very, warm about the whole idea. So he came home, picked you up, and then he goes to a restaurant that he wants to, and you said, why do you always have to pick this restaurant? Can you not pick something else? I always eat the same thing. Okay, so he went there, he still didn't say anything. He got the menu, and you snatched the menu, and you get this, and this, quick. 快点，我吃。吃完了怎么样? I have to go. Walk? No. I have to go back and catch the television. TV program or the children or something. I am busy, no time. Okay? And if it rains or cold, he would just stand there still. Then ask you, hello, are you cold? And if you say, hello, a bit cold. Cold? You should have taken your own cardigan. 你自己带衣服怎么没有带？我总跟你讲嘛，你都不带。So all these, so that is 15, 20 years later. It's normal. Okay? It's normal, okay? So I don't want to spoil the dreams of those who are not married, who are waiting to get married, but it's normal, okay? So just want you to know, psychologically, you got to, and there are so many advisors here, you can ask them, okay? This thing happens, right? 做夫妻就是这样嘛，是不是? So you have to grow together, okay? Be part of the growing process. It's a lot of fun, okay? You grow all together. Okay? Think about all the good things of each other. Now, who can understand your language when he calls, oi? Then you will reply, and you go, hey, he will reply. So one oi, 1 8, you also can understand your language. Okay? And then now I heard a lot calling daddy, mommy. I don't know why. Is he your daddy? Daddy? Hello? Mommy? I thought, where is your daddy? Where's your mommy? Oh, they were calling each other. Okay? So, yeah, I mean, it's fun if you can grow together. But it also starts from small things. Okay? If you neglect the little small things, like for instance, you start forgetting about each other's birthdays, anniversaries, but women are more sentimental, huh? Women tend to remember it. If you don't remember your wife's anniversary or birthday, I think there will be a war coming on. So make sure you kind of understand. Remember. I remember there was a wife. She said, my husband only once bought me a. What did she said? It was a chrysanthemum. It wasn't a rose. So rose was very expensive during Valentine. He's like, 哎呦，他买一个菊花给我，我从这里笑到来这里。She smiled from here to here. That means she was really happy. I said, that's all. 哎呦，很难得咯，从来没有的。So gentlemen, only take one small flower, okay? Now, of course, you say, no, I tried that, but my wife was not sentimental at all. My wife said, 哎呦，只给我一朵花呀。Well, there are also cases like this, okay? So, again, when the other person brings you something, show appreciation, always the little things. Okay? Now, the ancients were very, very careful about little things. Now, the quote 292, it was actually a story about King Zhou, the last king of the Shang dynasty, 292. Okay? Jizi was the uncle of King Zhou. Okay? And when King Zhou began to use ivory chopsticks, Jizi said, since His Majesty using ivory chopsticks, he will start drinking from a jade goblet, because everything have to go together. Then after drinking from a jade goblet, he will start craving for exotic food, right? Exotic things to satisfy his appetites. And so he will chase, the luxurious horse-drawn chariots and palace chambers. It will all come one after another. By then, our country will have no hope of reversing its misfortune. When the ruler, when the king is indulged in all his luxurious good, he will stop caring for his people. just from using the chopstick, ivory chopsticks. So likewise, it's the same with us, isn't it? If you start buying a luxurious car, now will you buy a luxurious car and put it in a little hut? You won't, right? So what else would you have to have? A house. And can it be any ordinary house? No, it has to be a nice house. When you drive a nice car, you have a nice house, would you wear like a drag? You won't, right? You will wear nice clothes. And where do you buy nice clothes? You start have to buy expensive and branded clothes. Now when you have branded clothes, would you buy a cloth bag? No, you will start buying nice leather bags to go with it. And with leather bags and clothes, and you start have to do your hair and your jewelry and makeup and everything comes with it. Okay, so one after another. Okay? So that's why the ancient, they all start with small matter. One of the things that really bothers me is our environment cleanliness. We are very, very bad at that. Okay? I want to show you a short clip actually done by some students in Sarawak about how little things actually can add up. So she threw a piece of sweet wrapper. Nice beaches, clean, nice day, but it was warm. And threw a piece of tissue paper. No big deal, right? Just a small piece of tissue paper. So Shaman have to go to the toilet. She did what she had to do and she came out. Washed her hands. Then some water splatters on her shirt. She wipes it with a piece of tissue paper and just put it on beside the sink. No big deal, right? Have you done that before? Never? Very good. But those who didn't shake your heads or nod your head, I think the answer is you did, Okay. So, yeah, take care of our environment. Even though it's a small piece of wrapper, put it back into your bag until you find a garbage can. Even though it's just a small piece of tissue paper, put it in the basket, garbage basket. A small piece of tissue paper on the ground, pick it up and dispose it in the proper place. Okay? Do not do it because it's small. Okay, thank you. Because it adds up. Now, when you see a PPT, that shows actually is right around the corner, around the tunnel. It needs more light off because it's a bit dark. Now, how often do we see scenes like this? Plastics. Plastics got to be one of our #1 enemies because they cannot dissolve. Even though dissolve into small pieces, they will never dissolve. Okay? And sometimes when they flow into the ocean, they got eaten up by the birds and they stay in the bird's stomach. And when they found some dead carcass around the shore, they opened up the stomach of the carcass, they saw pieces of plastics and even bottles inside their stomach, because plastic will never dissolve. Right? All start from small little plastics and small little cigarette box. Okay? So this plastic bottles, plastic, oh yeah, you know those bread? I think they use it to feed the fish. But after they feed the fish, they just dump the plastic bag on the bridge. Actually, it's right beside the tunnel there. Okay? Again, plastics, tissue paper. Okay? It all starts from this. We think it is such a small thing, just a small paper cup. Okay? We just throw it away. Right? Right, next. This is what happened. What are those? Look carefully. What are those? They are all plastics. These are all the plastics. Right? That because they cannot burn plastics, because plastic is toxic. If they burn it, the toxic fume will go into the air. Right? And when they even when they have to recycle it, right, the plastic bottle, they recycle it, they still have to go through a lot of chemical treatment. But a lot of plastic bottles or containers just go into the river or the ocean. Okay? And there were several gyros, that means, you know, the ocean flow in certain ways. And they just follow the waves and then stuck with a few places on the earth. And those are the places they found a lot of birds or a lot of sea creatures, such as turtles, sea turtles, they died because they ate those pieces of plastics. Okay? So this is what happens if you are not careful, because how many plastic do we consume each day? You go and buy something, you get a little plastic bag, or you get a little plastic container. And where do we put this plastic container or plastic bag? We throw them away, or we put smaller plastic or smaller waste into it. There's a lot of plastic products nowadays, and it will all end up plastics, plastics, and plastics. That's how we ended up in this. This is actually America, somewhere, I think in the ocean. Right? Plastics. So, next one, cigarette butts. I'm sure you don't smoke here. Okay? But for those smokers, they just simply will just discard the butts everywhere. Okay? So when we saw it, we pick it up and throw it away. Okay? But they really should, should not litter our environment like that. Okay? So please do not litter, because these small things will add up. Okay? And I hope that we all can become a guardian angel for the environment. Now, next, 物虽小，勿私藏；苟私藏，亲心伤。物 is things, 虽 is although, 小 is small or trivial, 勿 is do not, 私 is private or selfish, 藏 is hide. So even though a thing may be small, do not hide it in private. Right? Do not hoard it. Page 4. Mine is page 4. 物虽小，勿私藏. That means we should not hide any possession, no matter how small, from our parents. Okay? Because if we do that, 苟 is if, 私 is private or selfish, 藏 is hide, 亲 means our parents, 心 is heart, 伤 is hurt. So if we do, that means if we hide any possession, no matter how small it is, they will feel hurt. Because, what would that be? What would, when you hide something in private without them knowing it, will hurt their feelings? If your children hide something from you, would you feel hurt? Yeah? Why? Yeah, Jen, yeah, can you share with us? What would you feel hurt? Because you feel that they don't trust the parents, right? First, they don't trust. And if they don't trust you, means what? There are things that they will hide from you. May not be necessarily just material things, but things that they do. It could imply that you may not know what all about them. Right? So it's an implication from the small things. And also, without asking or without letting know, you possess something. It could be you have stolen them. Now, one day a mother found some stationeries. Actually, it happened was she found one pencil, which was not her child's. So she didn't think too much of it. 生与死 actually 很重要的. That means when you first detected something extraordinary, you must deal with it right away. Otherwise, it will grow. So it started with a pencil, and then an eraser, then a pencil sharpener. Then only the child's mother became suspicious. 说你每天回来都有新东西的，你这样多钱吗？我没有给你这么多钱呢。How come you always have new things to come back? 哎，没有啊，我买的啊，或者我跟我朋友换的啊。Oh really? You better tell me the truth. Okay, then the child, after much asking, said, 我拿我朋友的，我拿我同学，我不是偷啊，我拿我的同学的。I took it from my classmates, or my classmates gave to me. 什么？真的是给你的吗？ Then, 没有啦，他不知道的吗？ My classmates don't know about it. Right? So that's how the habit of stealing, start to form. 勿私藏，苟私藏，亲心伤。Then when the mother knew about it, she really felt hurt. So she said, no, I don't want to have a thief in my house. Do you know that by taking things away from people without them knowing is constituted as stealing? Do you want to be a thief? I don't want to be a thief. To be in a house, it is wrong. I want you to take it back. But she was good enough. I think she took her child and then go to the school and apologize to the classmates as well as the teacher. Okay? So parents, you must have the guts actually to do that, okay, to accompany the child and seek apologies, because your child may not return them to the owners. Okay? So you must be brave enough to do that. Okay? Now here, when I read the ancient stories, there are things that I feel that we really have forgotten how to teach our children. Now, here's a story called Mother of Zifa Enumerates. Enumerates means count. Okay, that means sort out all. Okay, calculate everything means enumerate. Okay, her son's faults. Okay. Now, why did she do that? Now, Zifa was a famous general of the Chu state, and that was during the spring and autumn period. So when he waged an attack on the state of Qin, he ran out of food ration. Basically, he ran out of food, so he had no food. So he asked for supply from the king of Chu, and as the envoy that he sent passed by his mother's house, he went in there and say hello and say greeting to Zifa's mother. Now, Zifa's mother asked the envoy this. Now, when your son has been away for a long time, and his friend comes to see you, okay, and your son is actually a very accomplished general, what would you ask the friend? Or what would you ask the envoy? Envoy means 大使, huh? What would you ask him? Let's say, okay, your son is in war, okay, and the government sends somebody to say, oh, we're passing by, you send your son's greeting to you. What would you ask? What would you ask him? How is he doing, right? You would ask the same question, won't you? No? You won't? What question would you ask? Yes, you would ask, how is he doing? But what did Zifa's mother ask? How were the soldiers doing? His son was a general. So Zifa's mother asked, how were his soldiers doing? So the envoy said, oh, the soldiers had to eat beans because there wasn't enough food. The soldiers eat beans. Oh, really? The soldiers eat beans? So what did my son eat? And the envoy said, oh, your son, you don't have to worry about him. He has meat and grains. So you don't have to worry about him. Well, as a mother, should you be happy about that? No? Why not? Selfish. Yes, not bad. You can be a Zifa's mother. Yes, she thought her son was very selfish. So when Zifa won the war, came back from the battlefield, back to the home, his mother refused to let him into the house. And she sent someone else who told him this. She said, how could you have meat and grains when your soldiers only have beans? She said, when King Goujian, gave his soldiers grains when it was very difficult, his soldiers' spirit were raised. So Goujian won the war because he always had the soldiers in his mind. He always considered for them. He would even share his wine with them. Whereas you would enjoy the meat and the grain by yourself without even considering for your soldiers, for your men. I don't want to come in. So Zifa was very shameful. He knelt and apologized. He had to apologize to his mother that he would not do that again. Then only would his mother allow his son to come in, her son to come in. Okay? So the next time when you ask your son, don't just ask about how are you doing. Maybe just ask, how are your friends doing? How was the camp? Was everybody all right? Make him always think about other people and not just himself. Okay, that's a lesson we got from here. Because at that time, like Mr. Liu, he commented that at that time there were a lot of generals, because of the position, who were pocketing all these extra supplies. They could even sell them. So it wasn't only Zifa would do that. There were many generals who were doing the same thing. So what did Zifa deserve, to be reprimanded by his mother? But Zifa's mother feel that small matter, should not do it. Because it is shameful. You must always think about those under you. Give them, a fair share of a ration, the supply. And talk about Goujian is also another very interesting character. At the end of the warring state, Goujian, there were two states who were fighting with each other. Maybe the last two kingdoms who were struggling for power. Why was he interesting? Because there's something to do with 財神爺. 財神爺. Who was the 財神爺 of China? 你哋有拜財神爺嘛？冇拜財神爺，哇唔錯啊！你哋嚇。Study弟子規for a long time already? Okay, 財神爺 means the god of good fortune, right? Called 范蠡 or 陶朱公. Now, for our friends from China, correct me if I'm wrong about the location, okay? Because China is a big country. Now, there were two states involved at that time. One is Wu Guo. Okay. Wu Guo is now in Jiangsu. Okay. Jiangsu, let's say it's over here. Okay. And Yue Guo was over here. Okay. One is Wu, one is Yue. The present-day Shanghai is over here. Okay. So in BC 494, this year, Yue Guo的勾践 was defeated. Defeated by Wu Guo的夫差. He was defeated very badly, only with 5,000 soldiers left. So at that time, he said, okay, let's call a truce. Okay? We will become your vassal state under your protection. I will give up my rulership, okay, and I will become almost like your slave. So his stay in Wu Guo became almost like a slavish servant to Fu Cai. And Fu Cai thought that, oh, you know, he was willing to do all this for me, so he must have been regretted, you know, for last time doing a battle with us. So I will take him in. So he let him stay actually for close to 10 years. What did he do during the 10 years? Now, for those of you who learn Chinese, did you hear about the proverb 卧薪尝胆? 卧 means you lie, right, lie on. 薪 is a firewood. That means woods you use for burning fire. 尝 taste. 胆 the gold. That means he would sleep on very hard surface. Okay, and he hang a gall, from the roof. The gall will drip. The gall is very bitter. The gall liquid will drip, and he will taste to remind himself it's a very bitter. It's a very bitter life. It's a very bitter battle that he's going to do. So this part is called 卧薪尝胆, and he tolerated that for almost 10 years, and he got the confidence of Fu Cai. So Fu Cai thought, this is a useless man already. Might as well just let him go back to Yue Guo. So he let him go. So nowadays, when you describe somebody who would go through very bitter life in order to gain something, this person is 卧薪尝胆, that he would endure anything so that one day he could rise up again and win the battle. Okay? So he went back and he did a lot of reformation, reducing taxes, and government would adopt the children of the poor, of the widow, of the sick, of the disabled, and then they would reward those capable people, professionals, to contribute to the country, to build up the country. And he himself will grow the rice and the grains. Okay? He will not eat anything that is not grown by him. And he will not wear anything that is not, sold by his wife. That means his wife will weave the cloth. He was that determined to win the battle. And he said, I'm not looking for a one-man show here. I'm not looking for a battle waged by one man. This war is going to be won by all of us. All of us, okay, I need every single one of you to go with me. And with this kind of spirit, okay, so since he was defeated in 494, in 473, by the way, this is BC, okay? BC means before the birth of Christ. So the years reduce until 0. Okay, and then it go up. Okay? So you see, start from 494, and then he came back and won the battle at 473, 21 years. He waited 21 years to win back. Right? And he had two very good strategies with him. One is Fan Li, the other one is Wen Zhong. Okay? But after they won the war, you see, he said, when I won the war, I will never let Fu Cai live. Unlike him, I will kill him. Because he let me live, and I come back and defeat him. So now, I would definitely kill